All right, creating a survey style for GPS is pretty simple. Go to the burger button, go to settings, survey styles. I'm going to create a new one. Just tap on new, style name. I'm just going to give it a name of test GPS. Style type is going to be GNSS, not conventional or integrated. Hit accept. Rover options. So in here, I'm going to set what I want my rover to be. If I'm going to set this up for base rover, I would just leave it as RTK and CMRX. Choose what antenna we're using, R12i. You have your choice of R8S, R12 itself, R10-2. For this, I'm going to use the R12i. I'm going to leave it as measured to bottom of quick release. Antenna height can stay as a question mark because that can change. Serial number, I'm going to leave as a question mark. Tilt, if you want to use the onboard tilt compensation, you can leave these checked. For the IMU, for the e-bubble functions. Station index, that's only going to come into play if you're running base and rover. So for the rover, you can leave it as any. Elevation mask can stay as the default 10 degrees. PDOP can stay as 6. Some people would like to see that a little bit more conservative and brought down to, maybe 3. As far as the signal tracking, I like to keep all these checked. If the receiver is capable of following all of these signals, it'll let it go. If it ends up not being able to track them, it'll actually give you that as a pop-up as you set the survey up. Roving precision, I leave the auto tolerance on, and exfil can stay checked, and that's just going to fill in areas of GPS blackout for a small amount of time. With all those things set, you can hit accept. So for the rover data link, I'm going to leave it as radio, receiver internal. Base options, this base is going to be an R8S, so that survey type can actually get set to, can stay as RTK if you're not going to do any sort of post-processing. You can switch it to RTK and infill if you want to do any static logging and post-processing of the infill data, which will fill in when you have lost radio reception. I personally like RTK and logging if I'm doing static, because the RTK will be the base, and then it'll log static data to the receiver for post-processing after. CMRX can stay. Choose the antenna type. For this one, it's going to be an R8S internal, bottom of antenna mount. Station index can be set to whichever logging device. I like to log to the receiver because 99.9% of the time I'm going to walk away from the base and either conduct my survey with the rover or go set the other receiver as a base as well. So I'd like to have the information logging to the base itself and not to the data controller. Logging interval depends on how long you're going to leave the receiver on the point. If I'm doing mobile mapping, I'll set it to 1 second. If I'm going to leave this here all day, I may bump that to 5 to 10 seconds. But for this, I'll just leave it as 1 second. Elevation mask, as we saw with the receiver or with the rover, can stay at 10. All of these I like to check on as well. Like I said, if it can use them, it'll use them. If it can't, it won't. Hit accept. Base data link, we want that to be radio, but we want that for this to be the receiver internal. Accept. And then the other information in here, topo point, multi-till, all of these are configured for the end user. It's what they want to set for their tolerances. So at this point, this is where I would store that. And then you can see we have a test GPS survey style.